I'm here at a mastermind event and for my own coaching, and one of the members of this room where I receive leadership development coaching, and we're focusing on our businesses as well as living a life that helps us glorify our purpose in life. For me, part of that is my relationship with God. That gives me the opportunity to run a business that supports my family as well without sacrificing my time with my kids, because I know that as a parent coach, of course, I need to walk the walk and talk the talk. That means that I get to enjoy time. We're at my business coach's house, which means I brought my oldest daughter with me, and she's been having a blast playing, and I get to enjoy all of the experiences in learning while I get to have fun with my kid on the off hours. So for me, one of the things that I experienced with this colleague of mine who's also in the mastermind, she was wondering whether or not she belonged in the room and whether or not her experience and her achievements have been good enough to be having to be worthy of having a conversation with the other people in the room based on her presumption of the business size, the revenue generation of their business. Why is this important to you as a parent of a sensitive kid? This is important because if you are comparing yourself to other people's achievements, especially whatever they say that they achieve online, you are very well likely comparing yourself to a false perception of what you want to be. Where she was stuck was literally 3 feet from achieving the accomplishment that she wanted in her business, and she's able to send her kiddo off to his next stage of life. He's leaving the house, and she's there for him, and she's driving him around to all of his high school obligations and spending time with him and her other son. And she's running her life the way that she wants and also hitting her business targets. Now, parenting a sensitive kid can make you think that you don't belong. It can make you think that you struggle with the regular everyday parenting to the point where there's something wrong with you or there's something wrong with your kid. And I'm here to tell you that none of that's true, number one. Number two, that everybody has that perception that there's something wrong with you, or that you're not there yet. And while you might need to be in a room where you learn a strategy to parent your child in a different way so they stop melting down, they stop losing it, if you're not also working on the way that you talk to yourself and the way that you experience your own level of appreciation for where you're at in life, then you will never be able to impart that to your child, right? If you're not able to identify that challenge or get yourself into a mentorship room where you're not being challenged on those thoughts, then you will keep them. So there's a big difference between somebody who's going to challenge you and challenge those thoughts and say, hey, hang on, here's what you're doing, here's where you're almost going, here's where you're almost, you're almost at the target that you're looking to get. This is part of the conversation that I had, and I'm her peer, I'm not her business coach, I'm not a business coach. But I had a conversation with her regarding the targets that she was expecting to hit in her business, and the fact that she was almost there, but she wasn't even realizing it. She was looking at her past rather than in her future. And so when I'm in the room and receiving my own coaching, and also part of that is in gaining these lessons and helping me see how other people think so that I can impart that to my clients. And one thing that we coach our clients on, and our clients are parents, is that comparison is the thief of joy. But comparison of other people's best is also the thief of joy. You might just compare yourself to somebody else's worst. You might say, oh, you know what, I raised my voice at my kid and I saw somebody else do the same thing. I'm probably fine, right? Everything's going to be okay. There's one thief, right? The second thief is when you're comparing your worst self to their best self. Now, if you yell at your kid and then you see somebody scoop some kid up who's like stomping and mad and obviously disappointed about something, and the mom scoops the kiddo up and just says, I know this is hard. And you say to yourself, dang, wished I had done that this morning, because that child then moved on from the emotion rather than held it or fought it or was taught to fight it. And that might be true. You might have normal regret for yelling at your kid, and that's normal. I'm not going to tell you that you shouldn't experience regret. I'm going to hold you to that standard that you should regret yelling at your kid, right? However, If you're not learning how to assess your family dynamic, then all you'll do is take personal responsibility without figuring out how you can impart responsibility to your child. So it'll be this either or situation. Either I'm perfect or expect my kid to be perfect. And in the meltdown cycle, your child will never learn what part of their emotional expression is theirs to earn without being responsible for your emotions. If you don't know how to strategically walk them out of the meltdown cycle by looking at the entire family dynamic, who's playing in with who's communicating in a way that is not effective for the other person in the household. How are you setting the standard for your entire family and how you communicate stressful frustrations? And how do you work together, right? How does your child perceive their opportunities to grow for growth? Are they always responding in ways like, I can't, I won't, no way, there's no, I don't know how to do it. And you're always wondering, can my kid ever get there? You're thinking that they're fragile, right? And so if you're stuck in this, then I encourage you to continue to double down on your own sense of resilience and ask yourself whether or not you have those skills. Do you have the ability to persist through challenge without people around you that help you see up and look forward to your next objectives, rather than just say, you know what, it's okay to be right here. Everybody's kind of right here. There's a very big difference in a community that lifts you up and moves you forward than a community that lets you stay stuck. A community that makes you feel like it's okay to feel stuck without looking for growth, right? So the big difference between being complacent and being placated by your community and being grown by your community is the room that you're in. The communication style that people have, the colleagues, the peers that you in the room that you put yourself in, and then obviously the process that you're following to get there. And so with our clients, we don't just look at how they are communicating to themselves and how they're communicating to their children. We also teach them how to communicate to each other so that they can build their own international group of champion parents. And for us, we call them ninjas. You're parenting your highly sensitive child like a ninja. That means that if your child's words are coming at you like a ball, you need to learn how to bob, you need to learn how to weave, so you're not catching that and holding it and feeling like you just got smacked in the face by your kid's words. And also teach your kid to use different words. Oftentimes parents will just learn one or the other from a parent coach or from a friend, right? Oh, they don't mean it. It's fine. They'll eventually stop telling you that they hate you or that you're the worst. It's, this too shall pass. Cherish the times when they're not yelling at you. It's gonna be okay. And soon enough, they won't even be in the house. Well, listen, if that's the only side of things that you're getting advice from, sure, this too will pass. If you have a strategy where your kid doesn't end up making it worse, right, and escalating. But the mentality that your child's only going to be 6 at this time, your child's only going to have their 7-year-old life for 1 straight year, that is true. But don't use that to justify that you can't address the dynamic in your household now, that you have to ride it out and wait, right? Now, the flip side of this is you can't let your kid talk to you like that. That's not appropriate. Nobody's going to get a job if they're calling everybody stupid or calling themselves stupid. They won't make it out alive. They need to toughen up. Any of that, or they need to be polite. They need to be respectful. Your child needs to learn politeness. Your child needs to learn respect and how to demonstrate politeness, which is conveying respect to other people. And yet, we don't want our kids to learn to be respectful by holding themselves in without noticing the emotion and learning how to release it. That is a one-sided perception that you have to ignore the emotional side of things. No, I'm not saying that the emotions are always how we should listen, right? We don't overcompensate by validating and then just letting the feelings be considered intuition. Heck no. As humans, we are feeling beings, and half the stuff we feel is absolutely not based in fact and will not serve us. But what I am saying is that if you're ignoring your emotions, then you can't use your emotions to your advantage. You can't learn how to fuel your emotions into willpower. You can't learn how to fuel your emotions into persistence and drive and the ability to push yourself forward for discipline. All you're learning is to just listen to other people and tell yourself that you're going to be okay and you're going to be fine, or other people's needs matter more than yours. Then you're going to teach your kid to railroad their emotions. You're going to teach your kid to freeze when other people are disappointed in them. You're going to teach your child to just follow when other people are stronger or bigger or more opinionated than them. And I don't know about you, but I don't want my girls learning that. I don't want my girls to learn to just zip their lips and wait. for somebody else to give them directions. I want my children to be able to learn why they're here on this earth. What is their purpose? How do they achieve that even when it's hard? How do they pick themselves back up even when they feel like they're failing? How do they tolerate discomfort? How do they move through frustration? How do they communicate safely? And if your kid is sensitive, that means that at this point, if they're stuck in the meltdown cycle, they are going a mile a minute and going big and going home in their emotional intensity. They're yelling, they're kicking, they're screaming, they're throwing things, and they're wondering, what is going on with me? And in this situation, you need to figure out how to teach your child to not just tolerate discomfort, but to dissipate discomfort. And that is a very different lesson that you need to learn how to do yourself. And then you need to learn to convey it to the entire family. Because if everybody in the family is waiting for your sensitive kid to dissipate their emotions, and you're only coaching your sensitive kid, then no one in the household is going to move further than your sensitive kid can. And your sensitive kid isn't going to move any further than how you can. Because as leaders, we go first. So if this is a conversation that you want to continue to have, I encourage you to get on our masterclass. We have a free shift training where we're focusing on teaching you how to eliminate the meltdown cycle in your household, and by highlighting the fact that that meltdown is caused by compassionate parenting. No one's calling you a ignorant parent. No one's calling you names as a neglectful parent. I know you're working very, very hard to turn this around, and your strategy is keeping you stuck. So if you want that straight talk, you want to know what's going to help you break out of the pattern and see the high-level overview of the success that we've had with thousands of parents and hundreds of families, right? Because we work with both parents, so you can double that. For the vast majority of our clients, they're in 2-parent households, and we help everybody. We help everybody build that shift. So if you want that support and you want to break out of this swiftly while paying attention to the fact that your kid is sensitive and they don't have to stay stuck, and neither do you, then go ahead over to the link that I'm going to put in the bio, or the link that I'll put in the chat, that is focused on our free masterclass, the latest one, and I don't have it memorized, so forgive me. I will let you know what it is in the show notes of this podcast, in the link at this post, in the notes of the YouTube video, wherever you're finding me. Just scroll up a little bit or press the button to find the words associated with it, and I will